Good evening, everyone. We will begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us, while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku prayer. Please stand. 高天原にかむすまります。かむろぎかむろみのみことをちて、すめりおやかむいざなぎのみことをつくしのひむかの立ち花のおどのあがき花にゆきそぎ払いたもうときになりませる払いどの神たちよもろもろのまがごとすみけがれを洗いたまえ清めたまえとまおすことのよしを天つかみ国つかみやおよろずの神たちともに雨の口駒の海に降り立ててひこしめせとかしこみもまおす弥勒大神守りたまえ先生えたまえ弥勒大神守りたまえ先生えたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先生えたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先生えたまえくんながらたまちはえませ。くんながらたまちはえませ。Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us, radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei.
Obrigado, Meishu-sama. Bless you.
Johrei is now concluded. Let's now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teaching. So polishing, even diamonds, so highly treasured, are as dull as sand pebbles, until polished to their much appreciated luster. Spiritual cleansing occurs in the physical world when people come together, both the good and the bad, to polish each other's souls. Those purified in body and spirit can pass through times of great tribulation with much ease. You cannot judge conclusively if someone or something is good or evil. In the eyes of God, even evil has a purpose. As a matter of fact, the polishing of your soul, your spiritual training and cleansing are a result of the dark forces. Dark forces make you suffer, and in the training that ensues, your soul is getting polished. Therefore, dark forces are like rubbing stones that train and cleanse good people. To make a good sword in olden times, a smith first thrusts the raw metal into a hot fire. Once it had softened sufficiently from the heat, he withdrew the metal, hammered on it while it was still hot, and then thrust it into cold water. This process was done over and over again until the raw material had been forged into a beautiful, powerful sword. The same process applies to our own lives. Who hasn't had to face the hot fires of criticism, the hammering of persecution, and the cold waters of rejection? Since ancient times, those who have accomplished truly great things have suffered unusual hardships, like the forging of a sword. The spiritual explanation is that the greater a person's mission is to be, the harder are the trials first endured. So we should be grateful for all difficult experiences.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Miroku Association evening service. This evening, I want to share with you the faith experience of Eduardo Silva. He's from the Broward Johrei Center in Florida. Eduardo was introduced to our church in 1990 when his maternal grandfather underwent intense health purification. He received religious assistance from a missionary on a weekly basis. The attitude of that missionary caught Eduardo's attention because she was always very polite and kind. After a few months, this missionary shared a miracle in her life that had just happened. She had lost contact with her son and found him after 18 years. The missionary's experience and positive attitude inspired Eduardo. He enrolled in the membership course and received the sacred focal point of Hikari in March of 1991. There have been countless experiences and miracles that he lived, and he would like to share with us two of them. Even though his father had a good income, he always had an unstable financial life, as he was always making more expenses than what he received. He had also a tough temper. He argued for each and everything. In the year 2000, Eduardo's father decided to stop paying his house mortgage as he did not agree with the interest he had been charged. 2010, this house was auctioned, and Eduardo's parents had to move quickly, having 15 days to leave their home. They had to store and donate a lot of their belongings and look for an apartment to rent. They moved to a neighborhood where Eduardo's mother had spent her teenage years. After a few months, she already felt well adjusted. And after 1 year of a contract, the leasing amount was renegotiated to a higher amount. His father commented that he would have to look for a cheaper rental on another neighborhood. But Eduardo did not want his mother to go through the moving ordeal again. Eduardo talked to his wife, and they decided to buy a small apartment on the same neighborhood where his parents could live. However, they had no reserve funds to give as a down payment, and they would need to get a mortgage for it. He went before the altar and reported his wish to God and Meishu-sama, asking permission to realize this goal. He began to search and found an apartment on the same street where they lived. The apartment was small, but had a bright daylight which made it very pleasant. After talking to the owner, Eduardo found out that the owner was a Johrei member. He explained his difficulties, and the owner agreed to close the deal by receiving only 1% in cash and finance the remaining part. The process concluded in just 2 months, and during all this time, Eduardo felt protection from the spiritual world. In another more recent case, he decided to immigrate to the United States in 2017, but the obstacles were huge and he didn't have enough financial resources. Meanwhile, he attended to the Botafogo Johrei Center in Rio de Janeiro and gave service by assisting first-time visitors and by channeling Johrei. He also served during monthly services and practiced offering donations of gratitude. Whenever he was at the center, he always prayed to God and Meishu-sama to allow his move to the United States, if that were a good thing for his whole family. He detached from any results and left that decision on God's hands. 2019, he and his family got visas, and he still didn't know where they were going to stay. In August of the same year, all the Johrei centers in Rio de Janeiro were announcing pilgrimages to the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga, with the aim of praying for their city, as it was going through a lot of violence and a strong economic crisis. Eduardo signed up for the pilgrimage. He traveled on a Friday night and arrived at the sacred grounds on Saturday morning. He was filled with an undescribable happiness to be in that heavenly environment. He showed a smiling face to anyone who saw there, and even to the nature around him. He attended the service and offered his prayers regarding the possibility to live abroad. The following week, he remembered about a 401k fund he had from a company that he had worked in the past. He had already tried to withdraw this fund several times, but always received the answer that this could only occur when he retired. But a strong intuition told him to try again. He went to the bank and asked the attendant to check his amount and the possibility for the withdrawal. Surprisingly, the attendant said that there would be no issues whatsoever, and that it was enough for him to fill out the required forms. Eduardo formalized his request, but with not much hope. He thought that at any time he would receive a communication refusing his request. The following week, he went back to the bank and they informed him that his request was being processed. After another week, he went back to the bank, which reported the deposit would take place the following Friday. He was very impressed about what was happening. That Friday, he checked the balance and saw the amount deposited. He cried and thanked God and Meishu-sama very intensely. Eduardo understood that there are no barriers to divine intervention, and that the impossible happens when we surrender our problems to God and when we accumulate merit through our sincere serving. Eduardo is very thankful to God, Meishu-sama, all of his ancestors, for all the protection and blessings he received throughout his journey in our faith, and also for the protection during his family's move to the United States. He is also thankful to his family for supporting him in all his dedications. He commits to continue dedicating with love and spreading the light of Johrei to everyone who needs it. Thank you very much for attending the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. Their inspiring faith experience from Eduardo Silva of our Broward Johrei Center in Florida. I wish you a very wonderful evening.
This brings to a conclusion our evening service. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We wish you a very blessed evening.